Hi, are you willing to quit based upon the first sign of defeat? Are you willing to quit based upon the first sign of defeat? Hi, my name is Ann McNeil, and I am the Master Wealth Builder, helping you to build a stronger and better life and business in every area of your life. Well, today, again, we're walking through Ann's wonderful words of wisdom and my McNeil Factor insights from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And my question to you today is this: are you willing to quit based upon the first sign of defeat? As we walk through the book, Think and Grow Rich, espoused by Napoleon Hill, and we start with your desire, exactly what is it that you want? The principles are desire, faith, autosuggestion, your imagination, your organized plans, your decision, specialized knowledge. All of these are principles, but they matter not if you are not clear about that which you desire and if you're not willing to persist. Yes, with the spirit of excellence. Well, today we're talking about the principle of persistence, and we're walking through the 16 major causes or symptoms of the lack of persistence. I'm not sure if any of these relate to you, but let me just run through them very quickly. Number one, Napoleon Hill says that the failure to recognize clearly that which you decide that you want. Number two, procrastination. Doesn't matter if you have a cause or not. Are you procrastinating? Number three, the lack of interest in acquiring specialized knowledge. Are you using that as an excuse? Number four, indecision, which is the habit of passing the buck. Number five, the habit of relying upon alibis instead of creating a definite plan for that which you desire. Number six, self satisfaction. You know, there's little hope for people that are self satisfied. They desire nothing, so they're not going to persist. Number seven, indifference, usually reflected in your willingness to compromise on all occasions. Number eight, the habit of blaming others. Number nine, the weakness of desire. Number 10, willingness, even eagerness to quit at the first sign of defeat. And that's what I'd like to share with you today. The willingness to quit at the first sign of defeat. Now, you see, as I reflected on the stories that talked about quitting on the first sign of defeat, I am reminded by Napoleon Hill in chapter 1, dealing with desire, actually a burning desire. And the story goes that the morning of the Great Chicago Fire, a group of merchants stood on State Street and they decided, you know what, let's have a meeting and really come together and determine whether or not our stores and our businesses can be rebuilt. But guess what? All of those men got together and they reached a unanimous decision, except for one. Everybody else said, look, we're going to rebuild somewhere else, not in Chicago. But one man said, actually, he pointed his finger at the spot where his store used to be. And he said, I am going to rebuild right here. I am not leaving. And guess what? That's exactly what he did. That man, which is more than 50 years ago, was Mr. Marshall Fields. He built for that day and time one of the largest stores in the history of Chicago. He decided he was not going to be defeated. But as I continued to read and research and study this great Chicago fire, I came upon another story that I'd like to share with you directly from the book. Actually, it's found in the end notes of this version of the book. And I'd like to read it into your hearing because I think it's very interesting. And you never really hear this part of the story. And it says that the morning after the wooden buildings were burned, The sidewalks were burned, and on the heels of the long dry spell, the Chicago fire raged from October the 8th until the 10th, 1871, destroying 4 square miles, including the business district. 250 lost their lives, 90,000 were left homeless, and property damage was estimated at $200 million. As he wrote about the Chicago fire, Napoleon Hill must surely have had in the back of his mind another catastrophe, a personal catastrophe, also involving the fire in the Windy City. Because you see, in 1923, after losing control of Napoleon Hill's magazine, which he had founded, he returned to Chicago to get his belongings that he had stored there, only to find the building that they were in had been destroyed by the Chicago fire. He lost everything. That loss was very devastating to him. Gone were the autographed photographs, many of his most important letters, including some of the presidents of the United States, and worst of all, questionnaires that had been filled out by hundreds of the most eminent business and successful men and individuals in America who had agreed to participate in Hill's research. Ever, ever, the positive thinking, the positive thinker, wouldn't you like to be considered a positive thinker? Well, Mr. Hill carried on, determined to complete his project. And 14 years later, Think and Grow Rich was published. 14 years later, Think and Grow Rich was published. And my question to you today is, what are you willing to do to labor? What are you willing to do? I mean, think about it. 14 years later, after losing everything, he persisted and continued on in spite of the loss. So, number 10, the willingness, even eagerness to quit at the first sign of defeat. Marshall Field did not quit. Napoleon Hill did not quit. My question to you today is this: Are you willing? Are you willing to be defeated at the first sign? At the first sign of defeat? This is one of the major symptoms of the lack of persistence. Or is your burning desire so strong that you are willing to persist until you succeed with a spirit of excellence? That's my question for you today. I want to continue, as always, to encourage you to think and grow richer with me. But I really also want to ask you to think about, what is it that you truly, truly, truly desire? You desire it so strongly that you are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve your vision, your mission, your goal, and that which you desire. I want to continue to thank you for thinking and growing richer with me. And I want to ask you to connect with me on all of my social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of them. Connect with me there. But also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Ann McNeil. And always, yes, always give me your comments in the chat. Let me know what you think. You like the subject of persistence? Are you persisting? And if so, let me know what you're persisting in. I will continue to inspire, to encourage, and to uplift with my words of wisdom and my MCNEILL Factor insights from the principles of this philosophy. And as always, yes, as always, I will continue. Yes, I will see you tomorrow.